my entire career, I managed people in different locations. I had teams in Israel, in India, in Romania, in Spain, in the UK, in various places in the US. Actually, through my entire career, I was managing more people that were not next to me than people that were actually with me in the office. So for me, the whole video conferencing thing and managing people remotely and managing time according to different time zones and different meetings is the only thing I know. Actually, put me with 30 people in the same room, I'm not sure I know how to do how to handle that. But going back to what you learn from this is you really learn very effective time management, especially when you do this on executive level in a company that you need to generate hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And I think to me, the key to all of this is prioritization and focus and communication. So there's three different aspects, right, to what I'm saying right now. One of it is having the right processes. And whether it's you or with a group of people you're trying to manage, you got to have a process in place that you can stick to, because otherwise you're just winging it all day long, every day, day in, day out. In the office, it's a lot easier to wing it because the office itself gives you some structure.
Right.
At home, you're going to end up building Legos and helping cook all day long. You will never get to the things you want to do. So you need some process in place. Example of a tool that I use for my process, and it will connect to the other part of the process, which is priority. I have a list of priorities. I prioritize again, or I review my priorities on daily basis. And for the things that I think are critical and cannot be avoided today or tomorrow or this week, I set up an actual meeting on the calendar. I address that meeting as if I'm meeting with the CEO of my largest potential customer client. Nothing moves that meeting. Not the kids, not cooking, not unless the house is on fire. That meeting happens, and it happens with the topics that I define for that meeting. No email comes in, no WhatsApp messages. I move everything aside, and I spend that hour or 2 hours doing that one thing that I said that is the most critical that needs to happen that day. Connected to that is tools, right? So what tools do you use in order to make this happen? So obviously, from what I just said, you can understand I use a calendar. I just use Google because it's free and it's great and it allows me to do everything that I need, but you can use whatever calendar you want. It could be pen and paper if that's what you like. The other thing that I use religiously is Trello. Trello is a free task management platform. When I used to work in larger companies, I used other platforms that cost a lot of money that work in very large corporates, but Trello does just fine. And really what it allows me to do is create tasks, put them in different buckets, and as I mentioned, manage their priority. I literally drag to the top of the list the things that I think are the most important for that particular day. And I do this every morning. And usually at night before I go to bed, I go and visit the list and say, oh, today this and this came out. I forgot to add it to the list. I add it in there and I prioritize again. What that does in combination with what I said before, as far as the meetings, it says, do I complete 100% of what I was planning for the week? Absolutely not. Nobody does. Or I shouldn't say nobody. Some people are better than me. They probably do. I don't. But at least I know that I complete the critical things that I prioritize as the top priority for the day or for the week. The last component, as I mentioned, is communication. And when you run a business, communication is with the other teams. How do you make sure there's transparency? How do you communicate those priorities and short-term changes that everybody's aligned with it? But when it's you at home, it's still communication. What you and I are doing right now requires communication. I have 3 kids at home. One is a 5-year-old, right? But at this time that we're recording a Zoom meeting, nobody else is using the computers. Nobody's watching Netflix. Nobody can jump and throw the basketball in the house because they do this all the time. Nobody can run cars up and down the stairs, which they do all the time because they're bored. But it has been communicated in my own little company right now, right? In my house, that this is happening right now. And this is what I'm asking you to do. So we planned it up in advance that every one of them has a quiet activity that does not require a streaming device, because that will damage the bandwidth and you and I won't be able to talk as clearly as we are right now.
Right.
Um, and we're executing on this. So communication, process, and tools to be able to prioritize and focus on the things that are important.
And I guess the thing about that is they understand they're going to be rewarded with your undivided time
Absolutely.
in the pool, doing something fun, playing basketball, whatever it is.
So I think there's a huge benefit to the current situation related to what you just said. I
Yes.
spend a lot more time with my kids. I spend real quality time with my kids. We live in Florida. The weather is perfect. Real estate is cheap. So everybody has swimming pools. And we spend an hour a day at the pool. And I've built more Legos in the past week than I've done in the last 12 months because my little guy likes Legos. And so I build Legos all the time. And I'm reading books with my older daughter. So now we're halfway through Lord of the Rings. So
Oh,
I
wow.
get really high quality time with my kids, but I still manage to do the things that are high priority for me, even if I have to do them at 9 p.m. I think the work-life balance I have today took me a week or so to adjust, but I think it's the best I ever had.
So you pointed me to a book written by another guest of yours. His name is Nir Eyal.
Yes.
Right? Nir Eyal, who wrote a book called Indistractable.
Yes.
And the reason he wrote it is because we're all distractible.
Yes.
And I'm about 65, 70% through the book. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I did talk about it on my blog. And the points he is making are like, yeah, I can see why we are so distractible. And here are things we can do to make the day more balanced, more effective. Like I said to you, your kids are rewarded. They're not bothering you when you're on a podcast with Dan. And after that, they get rewarded by having undivided, really quality, wonderful, memorable time with you.
Yes. I think Nir's book is incredible. He's a very, very interesting individual. It's worth listening to the interview I've done with him, but it's definitely worth reading his two books. He actually has another book. The other one is called Hooked, which is about product development in business. But Indistractable is life-changing to anybody because it really teaches methodologies and provides systems and processes how to better manage your time and align it with your personal goals and priorities, whatever they are, both personal life and business. So definitely worth reading the book or listening to it. I'll admit out loud, I'm listening to the audiobook.
Excellent. So really my last point about this is the opportunity that evolves from crisis. The crisis we're all in is here on this planet. Practically everybody is in a stay-at-home order, working from home, socially distant from people they would normally deal with. So because we can't move to the cubicle where our friend is who we're co-managing the project with, we have to manage our time so that we get to that person and we use that time effectively. Do you feel like these skills that we are being forced to learn about time management will enmesh themselves in the future of work or not?
First of all, I really hope so. But second, I think yes. So this thing is not going away next week. We're
No.
going to be in this situation for a few good weeks. And if we look at Italy or Spain or other countries that have been this before us, we will be in this stay home, communicate over the internet situation for my guesstimate at least 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard this before me, I'm sure. 21 days gets you into a new routine, right? That's the time it takes the brain to adjust to something new. and make it a part of your regular self. 21 days. It's going to be more than 21 days. It's going to be a lot more than 21 days. So a lot of people are going to adjust, and this is going to be the new norm. But that new norm, while it has a lot of disadvantages, once you figure it out, and I think we're all forced to figure it out, once you figure it out, like we said, have a lot of benefits. You have a lot more free time. You have a lot more flexibility on when to do things. Now, yes, there are meetings on the calendar. There's stuff you have to be at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time for this conference call with these other people. And then there's another one at 10, but then there's another one at 4. And in between, you have 4 hours. In those 4 hours, you can choose what to do. And you can go to the pool with the kids, or you can read a book, or you can take care of that issue that you have in your backyard that you really wanted to take care of. And you can go back and do the extra work at 9 p.m. after the kids go to bed. And if you figure it out, you can find a better balance in your life. And I think a lot of people will want to maintain as much of the good part of it as possible in the future. And I think one last sentence, I think the employers, the companies who will understand that and they will see the opportunity here will benefit as well. Because think about what we're saying. You can lower the overhead by having a smaller office, hot seat the stations, let people come to the office when they have to come to the office, let them work more flexible from home. And I'll go back to what I said before. As long as you have processes, communication, and tools in place to manage effectively, then everybody wins.
You know, you just described why I think the over century old model of an 8-hour workday, a 40-hour work week is going the way of the dodo bird. It's extinct. Because of this thing we've been forced into, we have to use all of our time effectively with all of our constituents, and our constituents are our coworkers, our bosses, our clients, but our loved ones. They need time too, and they too are adjusting to this new thing. I had said to you when you interviewed me that I thought this was going to go away, and as a replacement to all that, people who work would be rewarded based on their outputs, not on the number of hours they worked. And you went, yes. I think this could do it. I hope it could. I hope it will.
I hope so too. Listen, when I manage people, and again, I manage people that are overseas for me for the past 20 years. They've heard me say time and time again, if you do what needs to be done, I don't care. Forget about I don't care. I encourage you to be on the beach drinking margaritas. I want you to have fun. I want you to have free time. As somebody who's working with me, I consider all the people who worked with me friends, and I want them to have a good life. And hence, if they can finish the tasks, if the KPIs that they can affect, that they can pull levers to move, are moving in the right direction, I don't care where they are. I don't care how many hours they work. I don't care what they do, when and with who, because the outcome that the business needs is happening. And I think if as a world, this thing now, the coronavirus, the stay at home, will force us as a community, as a race, to go in that direction, it's a huge benefit.